Welcome back to the Top Notch Documentaries YouTube channel. In this Israel Keys video, I'll be looking over the missing persons case of Lauren Spierer and Keys' potential involvement. I hope you enjoy. Lauren Spierer was aged 20 when she vanished from the city of Bloomington, Indiana on Friday, June 3rd of 2011. Let's get into some of Lauren's background and the timeline of events on the night of her strange disappearance. Lauren was born in Scarsdale, New York and would graduate from Edgemont High School in 2009. She would then begin attending Indiana University studying textiles merchandising. Lauren came from a wealthy town. It is 25 miles from Manhattan and her high school had been ranked as the 41st best high school in the United States in 2007. Scarsdale is a wealthy community and has a large Jewish population. On arriving at Indiana University, Lauren was active within the Jewish community on campus, and not long prior, she had actually travelled to Israel to plant trees on behalf of a non-profit organisation called the Jewish National Fund. It would seem like Lauren was enjoying her time at university and nothing seemed wrong. However, on Friday, June 3rd of 2011, her sudden disappearance would have everyone confused as to where she could have gone. Lauren could be seen on CCTV entering Kilroy's sports bar at 1:46 a.m. She stayed for a while and could be seen leaving the bar with Corey, her friend Jay's neighbour, at 2:27 a.m. Corey and Lauren made it back to Lauren's apartment building and they were clearly both intoxicated by this point. They stayed at the apartment building for around 3 minutes before making the journey towards Corey's apartment. Corey carried Lauren there and was observed throwing up on his own carpet by his roommate. He was then taken to his bed. The roommate attempted to persuade Lauren to stay at the apartment on the couch, given her drunk and vulnerable state, but she refused, wanting to make her way back to her own residence and continue partying. Lauren then began to try to get the roommate to drink with her, and he ended up calling Jay, whom Lauren had known for years, to come and escort Lauren home. Jay would arrive and take Lauren to his apartment around 3:30 a.m. He noticed a bruise under her eye as a result of a likely fall that occurred earlier that evening, and she left the apartment building at 4:30 a.m. She had no shoes and was dressed in leggings and a tank top. Lauren had left her personal belongings at the bar before she left, and in a parking lot during the walk with Corey earlier on. So, where did Lauren go? Surely she couldn't have gone far, given her intoxicated state, and not to mention the fact that she was barefoot. I'd label Jay as a suspect just given the fact that he was the last person to see Lauren. However, camera footage showed Lauren leaving the apartment building at 4:30 a.m. If he had then followed her out of the apartment building, then I'm sure that police would have been on alert. Her drunken state would have made her exceptionally vulnerable to any predator wandering the area in the early morning hours. But her family believe that her friends know more about the night, keeping their lips sealed. They refuse to take part in polygraph tests and hired lawyers. This could be seen as a sign pointing toward guilt, but it's understandable given the serious nature of a case like this. Apparently they have all been forthcoming in providing details of the night, and it would appear like they were telling the truth given the camera footage, which confirms the timeline of events. This doesn't rule them out of being involved, but it does make the case seem more like a case of stranger involvement. Could Lauren have been slipped a drug at the bar? Anything is possible, but I feel like the most crucial point in time is the last time that she was seen at 4:30 a.m. I'd assume that even in her intoxicated state, her goal was to head back to her apartment. Jay's apartment was 2 blocks from Lauren's, and he told police that he last watched her heading south, which is the direction of travel that Lauren would have taken to head back to her apartment building. Somewhere between his apartment and her apartment, she vanished. As mentioned, if her friends haven't secretly participated in her disappearance and covered anything up, then I'm leaning towards a stranger abduction. There are no bodies of water along the route, and so I highly doubt that Lauren would have accidentally drowned or become lost in the wilderness, which is more feasible with other cases. It's highly unlikely that she just wandered off due to her drunken state, and she would have been caught on camera. The area is populated after all. Israel Keys was asked about his involvement in the Lauren Spierer case, just given the fact that he was actually in the same state at the same time. On being asked about it in reference to other victim cases, he laughed and made the comment that that's how hard it's going to be for you guys to figure it out. And this by no means puts Keys in the frame for Lauren's case, but he can't be ruled out either. Keys' rental car went through 3 different toll booths on the Indiana toll road, and sure, this is far north of Bloomington, but it makes sense if Keys was attempting to appear many miles from a crime location. Another case, the case of James Tidwell, whom Keys is likely involved in murdering, Keys seemed to fake an alibi by turning on and using his phone in Cleburne, around 200 miles from James's last approximate location. Anyway, his mother lived 3 hours away in Harlan, Indiana at the time, and Keys knew the area well. The outskirts of Bloomington are much more remote and there's a lake close by. Could Keys have kidnapped Lauren, who was 4'11" and around 90 pounds, and murdered her outside of the city? Anything is possible. The urban community reminded me of Hackensack, New Jersey, the area where Deborah Feldman was last seen in 2009. Keys presumably abducted Deborah in Hackensack, as she was reported to have lived and moved about in a small radius. It is an urban area and Keys was likely comfortable in taking people from these communities. At the end of the day, there's no concrete evidence which ties Keys into the Lauren Spierer case. Once again, with many missing people who could be victims, most evidence is speculation and circumstantial at best. Overall, I highly believe that a stranger abduction theory is the most likely. Drug theories were put forth. Lauren had apparently used cocaine and pills on the night she vanished. However, plenty of students experiment with drug taking, and it seems like a stretch to say that she could have overdosed and her death have been covered up by her friends. Given the amount of opportunistic predators which exist within society, if one is involved, then it doesn't necessarily have to have been Israel. The Monroe County Jail building is right by Lauren's apartment building. A person being released from jail might have seen Lauren in her intoxicated state and taken advantage. Still, I don't buy that either, and these are all theories at the end of the day. In conclusion, police do believe that Lauren is deceased, and I have to agree. Just given the case specifics, it is unlikely that she began a new life elsewhere, or just wandered off never to be found. Hopefully, her family and friends can gain some new answers and information in the future. This case is certainly a bizarre one, and I cannot 100% admit to believing that Keys is involved. Let's hope that if this was a stranger abduction, the person will one day be held accountable. This has been the case of Lauren Spierer and the potential involvement of Israel Keys in her disappearance. As always, thank you for watching.